Here we've got the CEN CT. I'm going to call it that because there's the 4 and the 5 and then there's the R, whatever. So I've already gone over a bunch of these on my channel. Built a bunch of them, rebuilt a bunch of them, gone over the manuals, shown all the nooks and crannies, ups and downs, highs and lows, and so on. These are the two that I ran last. This one here is a little dirtier, and this one's a little less dirty. You can see the fuel tanks. Got some gunk left. This one's much worse. See just how dirty the chassis itself is too. These haven't been driven in years, so I figured now's a good time to take them out. So probably start with this one. So I'll go ahead and get the battery receiver in here, hook it up. And see that the servos work. Steering is kind of weak. I just wanted to test that because when I first turned it on, it wasn't receiving all the power it wanted from the battery. And then I just kind of manually moved it with my hand, and then from there it started working normally. So see what we can do with this. This fuel tank is nasty, but we'll send it. So I went ahead and filled it about 3/4, primed it up. Didn't take too long to start up. Sounded thirsty. Half turn out on the high end. And this is where we're at. I haven't heard it shift once, but I have done probably 20 passes. And it seems to be running smoother, especially now that I've richened it. I wouldn't be surprised it runs out of fuel any moment. I have a lot of faith in these old servos. So I'm definitely not hearing a shift there. So once this is done, I'm going to run one full tank of this and then check out the other one. I don't have too much time left with the lights. You can see There's a little bit of fuel coming around the primer bulb, and it's a little wet between the chassis and the tank. I don't know if that's from me filling it now, if that's from before, or if that leaked out, but yeah. Doesn't look wet or anything, so it's probably just from before. But yeah, I'm not sure about a shift point with this one. So like I said, I'm gonna refuel it. Probably another 75% of the tank. Just because I know I didn't hear it shifting after it was warmed up. So just to double check that and be sure that it runs fine, I'm gonna do the same thing. Actually, the glow plug died on this. The reason I know that is because it sounded the same with and without the igniter. And I put a splash of fuel in here, primed it, and put the igniter on. This is before I did the receiver and battery, just to be sure that it worked before I switched it all. And it wanted to start up. So I know that this is dead. So we'll come back to this and we'll run this tank through this one, and that's pretty much all I'll have time for. I won't be surprised that if the lights shut off. So without further ado, just did a couple passes with it. It started right up. I'm not sure about the shift point with this one either. Obviously, that's why I'm running it tonight, is to establish a baseline with this car. I'm gonna have to refer back to the manual to see what the factory settings are. To me, that should be shifting. Let me make sure the air filter didn't come off. Alright, no. It's there. I saw something moving in the lot down there. I've had that happen before. So this obviously won't shift. Maybe not. I don't want to speak too soon. I was really giving it full throttle there. Should definitely have shifted. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't have the time or the tool. I just knew that the last time I ran these are the two cars that worked. Maybe that's shifting really early and you just... That sounded like a shift to me. Yeah, that sounds like a really, really early shift. Hope I didn't damage it from winding it out. I think that's enough with this. We know it shifts and it's not at the right point. That was a clear second shift there. Yeah. All right. Nice idle though. So we'll start with this car next time. And we'll get a new glow plug for this one. These have been sitting for 3-4 years. Good cars. A lot of people hate on CEN, but I think they're underrated, underestimated. Can't go wrong with a big block 10th scale nitro on-road, you know, 4-wheel drive, belt driven. So shift point adjustment, probably shift point adjustment, new glow plug. I got some fresh fuel in there. Let's see, can't really tell in the lighting here, but that was pretty nasty, this one here. You can see that it was left kind of dirty. This one was clean. But anyways, let's go see what the shift point looks like on the manual. All right. So we're back, and this is where we need to be. So just following the diagram, basically what you want to do is be 3.5 turns out on each one of the 2x12s. So the 2x12 is this here. It says do this on both shoes. So that's probably where my mistake is. That's why we're not shifting right, is just because it's uneven. So let's go ahead and look at where this was. I'm gonna tighten it in all the way, and then do 3.5 out on each shoe. We'll see where we were. So I've decided that I'm gonna get better access to the shift point adjustment if I just remove the chassis brace and the belt tensioner. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those in order to get access to that shift point adjustment. All right, so I've got the top plate, the belt tensioner, and the 2-speed off, but I just wanted to mention something about the tensioner itself. And you can see that there's 2 different size screws here, and there's 2 different size mounting points. And that's important because the belt goes diagonally down from the transmission to the next pulley. So if you have a long screw going through here and it puts a hole through the top of that, it could potentially rip the belt. So I just figured that was worth mentioning. You definitely don't want to start using different size screws, because if something goes through there, it'll contact the belt and it'll start to fall apart. So I just figured that was worth mentioning. Something pretty small that might be overlooked. So now I've got access to each side of the clutch, and these are the screws that I'm going to have to adjust. And it's 3.5 turns out on each per the manual. So now that I've got access to it, I'm going to turn them all the way in and turn them out 3.5 turns each. Alright, so I got the side adjustments done. And the next thing is to do step number 5. It's to tighten down those 4x5 screws. You want to tighten them down so that you want to tighten them down until you see the shoe lift up slightly from the main shaft, and do that to both sides. I'm not sure if I've done that. It's kind of hard to tell because this thing's kind of loose on the shaft anyway. So I'm just going to look at that a little more in depth before I get the stuff reinstalled, and hope that that second adjustment here with these middle screws works. I know I'm 3.5 out on the side ones, so we'll hope that works. I'm just gonna give it a once over, and then we'll do the same to this one. All right, so I tightened them, and to me that looks like it's slightly off the shaft on both sides. So I think that's going to be a good place to start. I've done what the instructions call for, so I think it's safe to say we'll go ahead and reinstall these and call this the baseline and go from there with this car. Alright, so it's back together. When I was doing the adjustment for these middle screws here, and I had the little bit of a space between the shoe and the shaft, the clutch, the first gear didn't fit over the clutch there. I don't know what the terms are exactly, but basically this didn't fit on here with that adjustment I made, so I had to back these screws out slightly in order for this to fit over that. So I don't know if that's gonna affect this in any way, but the adjustments on this one are done for now. I'm gonna do a quick bench startup test to see if that shift point adjustment works. So let's see. I'm gonna have to go outside for that. But yeah, I'm not sure if anything I just did will work or not until I get outside and test it. I'm not going to bother with the other one until I know that this adjustment works. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to require more time than what I have now.